Yo, what's up guys? In this video I'll be doing an updated Marco deck profiling guide for the OP11 format with starter decks. I'll be going over deck profile and then do a couple of combos, not as many as the original video for Marco, and then we'll have a decent amount of ranked gameplay. Alright, so here's the updated animal Marco list. First we got Marco, Dawn ×1 activate main. Once per turn, draw one card, then place one card from your hand on top or bottom of your deck, then give up to one of your opponent's characters -2000 for this turn. This really enables your play with your animals and your minus reduction cards that kill based on power, or your cards like Ivankov, Sanji. So this really enables your plays and makes you more consistent each turn, because you get to draw and then put one to top or bottom. But even if you draw one and put one to top and like actually remove the card from the top, then you're still cycling. So, and so no matter what, you're gonna see more cards, unless you like put one to top and then you're playing our opponent attacking you and then they don't attack you. But yeah. And so next we have Otama, 1 cost. OP01, one of the most popular 2Ks in Red history. But if you don't know, it does -2K to opponent's character. And then we have Superior Spot Build Duck Squad. This is just a 2K counter animal. Mostly plays because animal. Sometimes you use the effect, 3K power, and yeah, you can also play off of Ivankov. And so we have Monet, 2 cost, 3000 power, +1K counter. You may rest this character, give up to 2 rested on to your leader character, give up to 1 character's -1000 power during this turn. So this card is like really good in this deck because you can give Marco 2 Dawn, which is a requirement for this, so this basically makes the leader effect free. You also need, but you also want the minus power for sometimes to hit points if you need the extra -1K to hit something. And then also Chopper also needs to Dawn. So it's a good way to add tempo and then also be able to help you remove things, especially if it's like already on the board, so you get 2 free Dawn to help you remove things, which can be really important for like cards like Marco or Chopper. And then sometimes the extra 1K can help a lot too. And it can also be played off of Ivankov. And then we have 3 cost Chopper, blocker, ×2 Dawn. When attacking, give up to 1 character -3000 power during this turn. Really nice card. Probably the main animal, because like this animal allows you to summon them, but this is like the main one you're trying to get, and like probably your best animal because it really enables all your cards, and it's also a blocker, which is really nice, because a lot of times if you want to get defensive, you can use it with Chef and Come With Us, with Nami, so you'd be able to set up one of these blockers, and then it's really nice if they're not able to remove it, then you can just really do some damage on the backswing by being able to use them to actually attack. And so he's like really big threat when like you already have big threats like Monet, Chopper, Ivankov. Nami's a 5/6 blocker, so that's also another big threat. And then they're probably not going to like, compare this one considering big threats, but Newgate's a huge threat too, which sometimes actually can come up if they Gamma Knife the Newgate and then they actually don't even have that many attacks. So they have to like pick one. They're obviously gonna pick the Newgate, but this still stays on the board. So if you have this on the board because of cards like Seaquake and obviously your high-end removal, can basically move anything if this card's on the board and you have enough Dawn. So yeah. And then we have our 3 cost Chopper, Summon Chopper. I have him at 2 of, and like OP10 I have him at 3 of. He's really nice because he can summon your Chopper, and your Bear occasionally. You don't really play Bear that much this format, off of him because there's not that many matchups where you need to be that aggressive. But it's really nice to play the Richie because it does a lot of tempo, especially if you have like multiple of these shoppers, which happens a decent amount when you like really go through your animals. And that's the reason why you're playing that one, because he actually comes up a lot, even though he's that one, because you're going through a decent amount of your deck. And you really just want him only, his main purpose is just to summon off of this, and you summon a Richie or a Hiking Bear depending on the situation, but always Richie if you have the Richie. Or you can put him to top with Marco and then summon this off of him to summon your Richie. And it's really nice, especially when this chopper attacks, because then you summon the free blocker, and then if you have another blocker, then that's 2 blocks that they really need to get rid of this card. And then so if they have no way to hard move this card and they have to like attack into it, but they don't have enough attacks, then this is gonna get another play another animal next turn probably. And then it also could just be nice because like it might force them to be really aggressive when at the end of the day the most important card in this deck is Newgate. And so if they're putting all their attention these animals early or like resourcing the animals early, they might not have enough to like remove the Newgate later, which is like the thing that if this card stays on the board, especially if like you have Monets or Choppers, like this card just is insane. And so we have 3 costs, Hiking Bear, 3k power, plus 2k counter, another animal, times 1 Dawn, activate main, give an animal plus 1k. You summon it sometimes off of this. You always, well, not always, but if it's your only animal, it's really not that bad to play off of this either. Especially if they leave it there and you still have another animal, it's basically 4k attacker. And especially since you have like these amount of things that give Dawn, like Monet and Newgate. And you don't have any searchers too, so like if you need to clear something low, Duck or the Hiking Bear can easily move that thing. And also most people won't, I mean it's not actually even wise to leave it on the board if it's there, especially if you have another animal, but they also like swing into it, and which is fine because you basically play that for free with this, and so that's very good for Marco because the 4-life leader that needs to use hand to remove things. So like the less pressure they are into your life, the more that you can save your cards and not be worried about them actually doing that, because yeah, well I mean basically in the end game you like win versus pretty much every deck because of Rayleigh and Newgate and your removal options, and then if you see a Sanji it's like really crazy. So yeah, we have 7 cost Newgate. This card's really insane in Marco. Basically on 7 you can move 7k, because he gives it Dawn to leader and he kills a 5k. And then if you have Monet already on board, you can move an 8k with leader, and then on 8 Dawn you can move an 8k with Chopper because you just give the Dawn to Chopper instead of leader. And on 9 Dawn you can move a 10k with Chopper and leader, and Monet can help you move 11k on 9 Dawn. And then on 10 Dawn you can move 13k. So yeah, really crazy. I mean obviously if this stuff is like already on board, then because it's the activate main effect, you can move a lot harder obviously, if it's already on board. And then following that is Rayleigh, because if this card is on board, Rayleigh can minus power to something and then kill something itself, which is really nice. And so yeah, choose up to 2 of your opponent's characters until end of your opponent's next turn, give minus 2k power, then KO 3k power less. So basically you can kill a 6k with this card naturally, and then 8k with this card naturally with Marco, and then you would minus another effect, or the other way around, or have a character on the other opponent's board minus permanently, or not permanently, but for the until next turn. And it's also really nice that 8k is actually a pretty good number right now. I feel 7k is a little low sometimes. So yeah. Then we have Richie. Richie's really nice because he's a blocker. One of the reasons I really like Animal in the red and blue is because Richie is a blocker, another blocker that can be played off of this card, and you just play for free off of this, which is really nice if they don't have any searchers, or there's too many cards that they need to remove on your board. So if this Richie stays, they just you just got a free blocker. And sometimes a blocker is like actually even more important than this and the immediate, because the blocker can help you protect your negate and your Namis and your choppers and your Monets, which is like the biggest value for you trying to move their board. Then we have 2 Ivankov. This card, on play, Viola top, and then you summon the 2 costs, which can be done with Marco, and then you draw cards with it when attacking if you have 6 or less in your hand. This card is really nice, mostly for Betty and any aggressive deck like Zoro. And just to help you draw cards, be able to play 2 bodies, and then potentially even continue to draw cards if they don't have enough to remove it through your blockers and with you removing their stuff. 5 cost Nami. This card's like amazing. Amazing support from OP11. It's basically like a second leader ability, except for more. Well, besides the minus part, but you have Otama, so it's fine. And 5/6 blocker is really nice when you like summoning these low bodies that they need to remove. So you can block aggressively. You can also just block if they 5 swing into leader or something. And then yeah, you draw 3 and place 2 to top or bottom, which is really nice because you can use that to set up plays with your Sanji, with your Chopper, with your Ivankov, or just to get 2 bricks out of hand and see more 2Ks, or also to find cards like Otama or Monet to help with your new gate removing things, or to set up following turns. Like if you're at 5 Dawn, you really want removal on the future turns, you can help find your removal. And so yeah, this card is like really amazing for this deck. Really helps the consistency that like Marco was helping with a lot, considering you don't have a searcher. But I think this really completes the consistency of the deck without a searcher. And it's really nice because like since you're not like using searcher, it's not like specific consistency. It's just, you know, you find the cards that you want to find, and you put the cards that you don't want to bottom of your deck. So. And then 9 cost Sanji. 9 cost Sanji is really strong. Obviously, you probably know this from UP Luffy, but you summon 9 costs or less, which can be done with Marco to put your cards to top. The problem with Sanji is that he's obviously useless versus aggro and teach, and so we're playing only one of them just because I don't want to get bricked up on him because you don't really need him to win. Because especially since like a lot of times these can just remove your opponent's board anyways, so like you don't really need the Sanji to win all the time, and there's just some matchups that you just never use them. So it's good to have them at 1 because in the matchups you need them, you just find them, you keep them. Every match you don't need them, you summon the bottom, you'll never see them again. So yeah, and yeah, but he's a really strong card versus like UP Luffy and Bonnie and decks that are like slower. And then we have Shadowman come with us. The main reason for playing Animal, well maybe not the main reason, but one of the main reasons for playing Animal in this deck. Look at top 5 cards and play a 3 cost or less Animal counter event. Really just a lot of tempo, especially when you play cards like this Chopper and this Chopper that are really like a lot more value than 3 costs anyways. And you just play them only for 1, especially like when you consider that like you're using up your other Dawn and then you just tack on the 1 more and you summon one of these cards, or worst case scenario, well, not worst case scenario you hit nothing because you did it blind, but a low roll scenario is hitting a Richie, which is like also so really good, just summoning a blocker that is 2 costs and 2 power. For 1 still. Still strong. It's a little bit better than playing just a 1 cost blocker. And there's a chance that you could hit something better. So, and then we have Seaquake. Seaquake is similar to like Shop Come With Us, like usually getting a lot of value from the extra 1 Dawn, but it's also just really nice because with Leader it naturally hits 5k. You can also hit Monet, it hits 6k, and then with Chopper it hits 8k, including Leader, and then with Otama, like if you combine them all, you can obviously hit anything, but yeah, just with these alone, that's 6, 7, 8, right? And then if you throw another one on there, you can hit even higher. So, and then Honesty Impact. Oh, and also Secret's really good for closing games, because like the highest blocker you'll see is Katakuri, and all you really need is just Monet plus Otama if you don't want to consider you having this at the end of the game, which is actually not unreasonable for you to have this, but like Monet plus Otama is Katakuri, so their highest blocker you can remove with Sequake fairly reasonably. And then Honesty Impact. Honesty Impact is like insane because it's basically like Red Rock except for you. Well, yeah, it's basically like Red Rock because it can hit 12k with Marco, and then you can combo it with Newgate to clear 2 characters, specifically like basically for countering Sanji plays, because that's 2 big characters. Or if you're like behind for some reason, you need to remove 2 characters. Or like Green Purple Luffy would play like the Luffy Taro with Pudding or something like that. Even though Rayleigh already helps you do that, but yeah. And so yeah, here's the list. And so we'll get straight into the combos. First combo, we got UP Luffy, very common matchup obviously, and they just summon the Sanji into Katakuri. We have Newgate, and so we just want to swap Newgate with Honesty Impact to remove both these cards. So we have Marco Effect activated, we're going to put Summon Bomb, doesn't really matter as long as it's not Honesty Impact, and then we're going to use Honesty Impact for 6, minus on Sanji, and then kill the Katakuri because that's 6, and then we can kill with Newgate. And so that's all we have to do. This uses up 7 Dawn, including Marco's, and then you have to have Newgate on board already. And so if we needed to remove like a 9 and 10, we would need Otama. If it was 9/9, then a Monet, and then anything higher than that, we'd need Monet, Otama, or like this to be on the field already. We do have 3 extra Dawn, so there's like a lot more that we can do with removal. If we do have the resources, we'll just be costing more resources. But that's the reason why having Newgate on the board already is really powerful. So yeah. Alright, so here's the other highlight combo. We have Betty with all Kirisu, just for the example. And then we have Marco. Well, of course we have Marco. But here's highlight using Ivanka with Sequake. And it should be at 4 and 5, but I forgot some Kirisu. So we're going to use Marco Effect to minus power on the Kirisu, and we're going to put a 2-cost atop. In this matchup, Duck actually isn't that bad because we were probably just going to swing in something low anyways, so. And then actually in this matchup too, like Duck, you can like even bounce the hand sometimes because like sometimes it doesn't matter for like swinging into your life, so. Like Duck is actually a pretty decent card in general to have on field in this matchup. And so we would swing, I mean actually it doesn't really matter unless you wanted to swing to life, but for this, we just play the Duck and kill the 5k with Sequake, and that costs 5 Dawn, with Marco getting a Dawn, and then Sequake costing 1, then playing the Ivanka. You can also do it with the Chopper, but versus Betty, obviously, the draw is more important because you really just need more resources and to find more Sequakes and cards that you need, and like 2 active buy is also a lot better versus Betty. And so yeah. Alright, so accelerated rank matches will be 8 matches on 2.25 speed, and my rating during these matches is 3100 to 3300, which is top 10. We'll try to talk about my matchups and what to look for in that matchup and some of my thought process. So yeah, there's some interesting games here. We didn't face UP Luffy once, but yeah, there's a lot of Yamato and Betty running around and high ranked right now. So yeah, we get Yamato, and we get a decent hand. And so we take, the reason why we took there is because we just want to avoid our choppers getting killed by the Wano 3 cost that kills a 5k or less, 5 cost or less, which is like pretty free for them to play because 3 cost. And so they do go for aggressive play and just banish. Fortunately, we have Nami and have a counter. And the reason why we actually took that first life was because we had the Nami, so we could block her up later. If I didn't have the Nami, I probably would just counter aggressively. Because yeah, one of the other things is if you do have that 3 life still or more, then they can just kill the Nami, which is like pretty bad because ultimately board presence is still most important, especially versus a deck like this. Like that's like their main removal. Once you get past that card, then their only removal is really resting removal for the most part, and like being aggressive. So yeah. But again, it's also still pretty risky if I didn't have the blockers and counter in hand, because they were able to play the banish. Now we're just gonna continue to block her up. We're gonna put up 3 blockers, pretty safe even with the Hoodie coming down because we have so much counter. Even if a Hoodie were to come down, I guess the better way to put it. But they don't have the Hoodie, which is really huge because then we just block with the Richie, and then we can just block with the Nami too. Yeah, because we have another Nami, there's no reason to like counter out of it with a Nami block. So, and then yeah, we're just going to continue to allow our Namis to save us. Oh wait, actually I lied. We're going to... This is actually an interesting play because I think they were scared of me having the event, so they tapped the counter. And ironically, if they would have just not even cared about the back row, they actually had enough because I miscalculated that the numbers, and so we've been just short if they were just to not play the EZO, tap the blockers and all in. But fortunately for us, they tapped the counter and then spend 3 down to rest our blocker. And so yeah, but yeah, I probably should just play another Nami at the end of the day and just killed the Momo without removal, because there's actually no reason to play Rayleigh there. But yeah, I think these games are also in the morning. I remember actually. But yeah, so we just get a Betty and then we play our Animal Chopper, which is pretty nice. We defend the Animal Chopper, play Ivankov, the normal Ivankov into Betty, or Betty into Ivankov into, actually what did they play here? Oh, right, that card. Which is actually really nice because we just have the Seaquake, so that's gonna do nothing for them. We do defend our Chopper twice, because we just want it for later, especially since like a blocker, especially if it's not just like below 3k or 2k, is like almost more valuable than a lot of counter because of how high they can swing at the end. And so yeah, we just use our Seaquake, play our Chopper, and we grab the Richie. It's gonna be a blocker later if they don't kill it. So yeah, and we also wanted to make sure they weren't swinging to our life because then we don't risk the chances of them getting a trigger that is when both lives are 5 or less. So this way, we don't risk it at all when we're swinging to their life, and they end up taking their second last life with Koala anyway. So next time we are swinging life, we're basically going for game. which is really nice. They do minus power our chopper just so we can't block 2k, which I guess I might have considered. I probably wouldn't have done it though because I wanted to go down to that plus of life. And now we're still in a decent position. We're just going to minus power, swing into 2, and then play an Nami, and then have a Shopman come with us ready. Minus power qual so they don't get a free block on our chopper. We do the chopper first just because we want to save the guaranteed for our Shopman come with us. And we do have the chopper to hit off, chopper blocker to off of that. We do go for that and just let go because we actually don't even care that much about that chopper anymore. And so this is a pretty awkward position for them because I have 3 blockers, 4 life, and they only have 1 life. So yeah, I do only have 2 cards in hand though. Fortunately for us, we have another Nami, so we don't even have to be like super aggressive next turn if we don't want to be. Obviously, if we find like a Seaquake, then we can just kill the Koala and go for game. It's like almost guaranteed. But I think we play it safe here because we have another Nami and actually maybe we don't. No, we don't play it safe. Never mind, I lied. Oh right, because this is like wait, do we play it safe now? Oh, this is kind of awkward. Oh right, no, yeah, that's right. Because we just put up 5 blockers and we have 2 life. Okay, that's fair. Oh, I think yeah, actually I remember now. It's because I was like, if they don't, well, if they counter out of it or they see a blocker, then we just want to go for game. Otherwise, we just have all the blockers up. It probably was just safer just to swing board, honestly. But I was like, the only way we don't go for game there is they see the Karasu, and they did end up saying it, so I got a little punished for being, I guess, impatient. But it's like honestly fine. We have 5 blockers up, 2 life, and so we just let those go because we want to see what we have before we start blocking. I guess technically we should have blocked with the Richie earlier, but I mean, I was thinking like they probably use the commit anyways eventually, and then to get them commit even more is fine instead of just committing on a low attack. But this is also just guaranteed game, so there's actually a few ways I can swing in this guaranteed game, but as the swings happen, you can tell it's like there's no cards that they could have. So swing 7, then I have 2 cards in hand, so that means if we swing 8 here. I actually don't know why. We could have just swung 7 again. Actually, wait. No, this isn't a guaranteed game. We swung 7, 8, 8 because that was correct. Because then they would need 2k, 1k, 2k, 2k. And they actually had exactly 2k, 1k, 2k, 1k. So if I swung 7 there, I would have lost. But this is also the difference between me watching now versus me playing the game. But I probably thought these things more through, but it's on 2x speed, so yeah, now we have a Nami. And so we go second, they choose to go first. This is a really nice hand because we have a Monet, and then we have a Chopper for next turn, and potentially a Nami for next turn if you want to play it. And we do counter this first one because we don't want to give them the free draw for no reason. And we also don't want to take the life for no reason because at the end of the game they're going to start Captain King us. And then this is actually awkward for Nami because they really need to remove that Chopper, but they also want to remove a life to like help them draw cards. But there's like no way for them to do that and kill that chopper. So they just have to swing into the board. And then here, there's a few plays we could have done here, but we just go for a swing on the, just a swing, basic 5 swing, because if they block here, we would just clear the kata with Monet plus Marco. And so we're just going to play Nami. And I believe we play, we use the Monet effect too. Oh, it's because they're deciding whether they want to trigger. Yeah, we also end up, we took a little bit of time earlier to decide whether we wanted to swing or not. And we ended up swinging because we decided that it would probably be fine just because, they're going to swing into board anyways. So double attack from that card is like fine, and we need to pressure life. And then we put the 3/4 chopper to top, so we can summon with Show Up and Come With Us, and we put the other Show Up and Come With Us on top because we don't think we're gonna play again. Or I guess maybe not necessarily that we don't think we're gonna play again, but because we don't think it's as important, and we're not gonna play it this next turn. Because we want to keep the Sanji Rayleigh, because we have 4 life and they continue swinging board, so we know that this is like very safe. We just let the swing on the chopper go because it's we don't want to let them keep swinging to 4 for a card that we really don't need. We just trash the top life because we like, actually no, I think we grant them life because we don't care, because we know if the game extends then we win because of Sanji. Really, yeah, we just heal them. Either one would have been pretty fine because they need, like, the big mom doesn't really do anything there either way, because yeah, and the nice swing life, which is pretty interesting, because yeah, I mean, I could have just blocked either way, it would have been fine. I think we just use our 6 cost kill here, yeah, to kill the big mom, and then minus power a ton on the Crackery. And again here, if they were to block, we actually want them to block because we would just kill the kata. And then we swing 7. There's actually no Nami effect play around that turn, but there's no reason to save the Dawn, so we swing 7. And there's no reason to rest the Monet here because yeah, I mean 7's already more than enough. And here we just trash the life because we don't care. And yeah, I still really need to clear board, but I guess at this point they might as well swing face, but I don't remember what they do. They choose swing face because those choppers are pretty deadly. I think they might have, I guess they haven't seen a Seaquake, but they have some Newgate and other stuff that could help with. But yeah, we just drop a big Rayleigh, a huge Rayleigh here, basically just guarantees the game. They have no board, they have full board and multiple blockers and 3 life. And we just decided to be aggressive, just to be extra safe and not let them have enough time to catch up with like 8 cost kids or something. Especially since Nami is a deck that can like be pretty defensive with being a 7k leader. So and yeah, and the Nami swing is also pretty safe there anyways because yeah, I mean they bounce our chopper, but we can just defend this, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we just defend this. And they also really need to remove the Monet anyways, so like yeah, I think they do just, I guess they could remove the Nami, but if you like, yeah, they swing into the Monet, we let go, and they put a card to the top, which I'm honestly not that scared of. Yeah, we draw the new gate and we were thinking for a second because we were like fully committed to playing the event. But then I think we just play the new gate, right? No, we still play the event because we can swing higher. Oh, we also just didn't want to play the Monet, actually. We just wanted to put a blocker, that's the reason why we did that. And if we played the new gate, we couldn't play the Monet and the Richie in the same turn, so we just play the yeah, we're swinging on the Luffy because it's lower, and then I actually decided on just keeping the event because we could guarantee kill the Luffy with the by swing 12 because they had 3 cards in hand, and then they did this interesting play where they take their last life and kill our Richie, but I mean the game was over anyway, so because we could just attach everything on the rail if they didn't play a blocker. So yeah. Then yeah, get into the next game, and let's see, I forget where we play here. Play against a Betty again. Okay. And we keep this hand just because of the Sequix. I mean, actually, the Shove and Come was pretty nice too. We don't play the Monet here just because Shove and Come is almost always value here because, well, if they don't swing, it's Betty. We're like very fine if they don't swing. And if they do swing, we can get something like that or the other Chopper, which is like really huge versus Betty. It's a lot more tempo than the Monet would be, so. And so yeah, we just swing and then we're gonna play our Chopper. Luckily we didn't have the Richie on board, we would've got killed, which would have been pretty bad. And so now the only thing here is, which I was thinking about later in this game, was that we have the Nami plus Sequake. If we would have had the Monet on board, then we could have played the Nami and just Sequaked anyways, but now we have to make the decision of do we want to Sequake or Nami, which is unfortunate because it would have been pretty decent, but I think since we have the Chopper anyways, really we don't get punished too hard. Because the other thing was I didn't have another play before at that turn, so I was like really thinking about it. But also we have the Chopper that we can. And honestly, actually, I probably should just use a Chopper to just use the second Sequake. But I actually, what's crazy is I don't know if I even thought about that when I was playing this game. Because I think I just wanted to keep the blockers up, but I think removing full board would probably just been. Actually, I know why. It's because I didn't want to risk him getting another trigger. Actually, yeah, that's why. And I think here, we can either go Newgate plus Sequake or Nami plus Sequake. And we decided to go Nami plus Sequake, and we're deciding on Ivankov or Kasu or the Sabo. We decided to kill the Sabo, I think, because if they block, it's fine, so we don't care about the blocker. If they play, they only have 1 card in hand, so if they use the Ivankov, like, that's fine, because that means that they don't have enough cards in hand. So, yeah. So we don't care about the Ivankov either. I think maybe we don't swing here. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think we don't swing here because we don't want to risk it. We do swing, which I guess, yeah, I don't know. Actually, in hindsight, I'm not sure if I would have swung there, but it's like we are still pretty safe. We have 2 blockers, 2 life, and yeah. Another thing is like. We left them with the Ivankov, so they can use that because we just hit them again. But the other reason why we did swing was because we wanted the animal off the Chopper, and we did already commit by putting things to the top. So I think that's the reason why we did do that. But either way, I think it's still a pretty comfortable position. And we don't get punished, most importantly, because they didn't see the trigger. So And the chopper did get removed, so... Well, I guess if they didn't have that life, they would have 0 cards in hand, so... The other thing is, the other reason why we could have really just not attacked is because we have a Nami, so, like... They're not going to deplete us of our resources too easily with Nami. We're probably going to see more blockers, so we're, like, very fine. And then we get another Seaquake, which is kind of crazy here. And another Nami, which is also kind of crazy here. We swing 3 because if they block, it's great. And we swing that time because we're going to have 3 blockers up and 2 life, so, and we're just going to Seaquake something, so we like really don't care that time. But yeah. And honestly, if the other thing is that if they did trigger with the other card at the other point, they would only like with the card that trashes. Because if it was like a curse, we wouldn't care that much. But if it was a 4 or 5 card, then they would have no more cards in hand. So I mean, I guess it's really not that big of a deal if they were to hit a trigger there. And then this one is the one that's like guaranteed game. Because yeah, they have 2 cards in hand. We can swing 7 multiple times and only have 1 blocker. So we swing 7 again, that would be last cards in hand. We can even swing again with the chopper, but so it's like, well, I guess swinging 7 and swinging 5 with the chopper is the same thing. So yeah, they were 2 cards off. Which that goes to show that we really didn't need to swing, because at the end of the day, they were 2 cards off of being able to counter out of that. So realistically, we didn't need to swing earlier and still go for game in that situation. But and we were also still safe. So either way, it's honestly kind of fine. Yeah, Bonnie. And this hand is kind of interesting because we have the Sanji, which is really nice versus Bonnie. We have a Nugate, which is nice. And Seaquake is also kind of good. Richie is like pretty not that great versus Bonnie because he'll stress it. But if you get to a board state where it's like enough things, then like they can remove the Richie. So it's like honestly not that bad. But and yeah, if we see off of the event here, that would kind of suck. They also just don't attack, which is kind of nice. Because the thing with Bonnie is like, if they don't attack you, like their endgame things are like Captain Kid and using their searchers and stuff like that. And so like the longer game goes like actually kind of good because we know that we can just keep removing their stuff. Because like the main way we lose to Bonnie is them being able to be aggressive and OD and like get tempo Cavendish with a Tashigi, and we can't remove it because they have the Tashigi and we have to move the Tashigi first. And so we just continue to keep up the 2 Don. We actually honestly could just leave up 1 Don, but we just want to keep them scared. So because now we like have the Sanji, Rayleigh, and Newgate, so it's like, and that's the other thing with that. Even that first time we knew we had the Sanji, so if it goes to endgame, we knew that we have a high chance of winning. So if they don't want to attack into us, we're like very fine with that. And so yeah, it's like we're actually inviting them not to attack into us at this point. If it was a different deck, I probably would just left 1 up because it's not necessarily versus every deck they necessarily want them not to attack us. But versus green specifically, like you don't want to mess with green too much because they can hoodie you, and then it's just like they do have the Shanks here, which is nice for them because they're on the off curve, but it's honestly kind of fine for us because we can just continue to like make them not attack us, which is good, and then we can just remove the Shanks, and then we still know we have Sanji into Rayleigh later. I could have done a tempo Sanji into Rayleigh, which would have been honestly fine to remove, just like swing, remove a blocker, because what was I gonna say? because the Shanks would have been would have Shanks life, and we had full life anyways. But we would have got punished if we did that because they played the Zoro Sanji, and if they had or not Zoro Sanji, they played the Zoro, and if we had the Shanks still on board, then the Zoro would be private. But since they don't have the Shanks on the board, we just have to deal with this Zoro, and if we're just gonna continue the minus power the Rayleigh, or minus power with Rayleigh, because we don't have the initial resources to remove it, which is unfortunate because all we need was like a Monet or Otama, and we could just clear the Zoro pretty easily. And to be fair, them starving us and not allowing us to get the chopper on board did help them with this type of playstyle, even though again we just need a Monet or a Otama that's like easily removed. But even with the Rayleigh, it's like fine because it's only a 6k power card that can attack 3 times in theory, but we also still have all of our life, so they can't push us that aggressively. So yeah. And so like the thing is, right, if they hoodie us when there's Zoros at 6k, that means that they can only swing at 6 3 times, or they can swing twice at or I guess twice at, would it be 8? And then it would also only be a 5 swing with leader too, so like Odie's not even that good of an option here, even though it's like kind of the option they have to do, and hope that I just don't have any counter. We do counter this first one, or I guess we do that first, because we don't know if they're going to, but yes, we toss Tsunami, I guess just to be extra safe, and we just take the first one because we know there's multiple more 6k swings going, and then if you counter all the 6k swings, or had chosen to counter the last OD swing, it would have been fine. And so yeah, and that was pretty comfortable the whole game because they didn't choose to swing into us. So and even the Zoro, like all we needed was just to minus power it. If we had to remove for it, it would have been like really game over on the spot, but it was just it was fine. And so now we get a Betty. I think it was third Betty, one of the first two. Betty is considered to be a pretty bad matchup for Marco. I think for Animal Marco it's not the worst, especially if you're on Seaquake. But it's still not like, your favorite matchup. And here again, we decide versus a lot of decks I wouldn't do this, but because it's Betty, we know they're gonna swing, or if they don't swing, we're like fine with that, right? And so they don't swing here, which is like fine for us because we have the Seaquake, so we can just kill their card. The only unfortunate thing is that we can't leave a Dawn up here, which I guess a play I could have done is I could have just left 2 Dawn up and just kill, but I think that would be a little bit wasting of Dawn, especially when Chopper just plays one anyways. So and we can just use the Chopper come with its later. That's the great thing about it in red and blue, like you have the Richie and the Chopper, so you can use them later to some blockers if you don't need to use them aggressively. But yeah. And yeah, but versus Betty, like them not swinging their 3 buy, like their leader and their 2 buys versus us early was like really big for us. Because the other thing is like if like we wouldn't have been able to clear all the 1-cost buys because we only have 1 leader swing if we didn't have the shop and come with us. But I guess if we played the Monet, we had 1 body, and then we could swing the other 1 to leave. So I guess it didn't matter that much if we were to do the other play, but yeah, now here we're able to leave 2 Dawn up again. And they go down to 0 life, which is kind of crazy. Because they obviously aren't going for game with this play, so it's kind of interesting, especially since like they've like already shown that they're scared of the counter, and now if I like play the counter, they actually get like hard punished. And this time, this is like one of the few times where I just take the 3-4 summon chopper instead of their ones, just because it immediately gives us in their body that gives us the hacking bear that we can swing with next turn, and we know we're going for game next turn because they've already committed. So there's no reason for us not to go for game, especially since they can't even put up another blocker, right? We already see that they have, actually they can't put up another blocker, but they can't put up 2 blockers, which I think I expect them to play a blocker here, but like, oh, they didn't play blocker. They're just gonna kill one, which is like this is like giga guarantee game here, because yeah, we can swing. I guess maybe not that much guarantee game, but it is guarantee game. We still only have 1 blocker. We have 3 swings at maybe not 3 swings, but we have, was it 3 swings? 7. Yeah, it should have been 3 swings at 7. I just swung pretty badly because I missed I thought the hacking bear with 3 gone, I guess, was 7. I don't know why, but yeah, because we could have swung 7-7-5. That is guaranteed. So yeah, that's the 3rd Betty that we beat in this. And oh yeah, all these games I played in a row. I just played 8 games in a row for this video. And so yeah, we get Teach. This is a pretty decent hand for Teach. We see the Chopper, we see the Newgate. All pretty decent cards versus Teach, because they're probably not getting black holes on 3, so a Chopper gets value, and then the next Chopper, like, it also has one attacking effect too, which is pretty nice versus Teach. I just play Doc, which is unfortunate because we don't have the Seaquake, which I guess Seaquake is necessarily not even that great of a trade because they get to draw and we just spend the card, but we're just gonna play another Chopper. Oh, and then yeah, they hit a Tempest Kick, which is actually like really annoying, but this Teach does something that happens, you know, they hit the triggers, and then the very annoying part about that is that because the prior thought process here was, right, is that if they swing into our Chopper, rest of Chopper, we can protect it, and then we have the extra Chopper. But since they have the trigger, right, they can remove both, and we have nothing that we can do about it. And then we're just in a really bad position here now, because since we're on the first curve, Newgate can only kill at 5, and so we only can kill, we can flat play Newgate and then kill the Doc Q. And the thing is, if we had another swing with the other Chopper, we could minus power on Augur, and basically I'll guarantee that swing too, got kill too. But since we didn't have that, no matter what, they're both gonna survive. And so we just, yeah, we're just in a tough position because of that trigger. There's not really that much we can do about it because we're just getting black hold. So, which is just unfortunate with Teach when they see triggers. But it's also because we're on the first curve that Newgate, on that 7 down turn, right, can't hit the can't attach dots to Marco, so you can't be hitting 7 or less. I guess also it'd been nice if we had a Monet or something, or actually no, just Monet, that could give us Dawn to leader, so that we could also enable our Newgate, but we didn't have that either. And yeah, here it's just we're kind of just going through the motions here because we're pretty cooked, honestly, because yeah, that tempo turn where we were able to clear the Augur and they just cleared our Newgate, was pretty bad for us. We did have both two Honesty impacts, but they don't even end up playing into it at all, which is like really unfortunate. So yeah, and then yeah, honestly, at this point too, it's also pretty unfortunate that their trash is just huge at this point. And I was thinking about for a second of like going for the swing into the Verges, but yeah, but then it would be a 7 swing into 6, which is not worth it. So yeah. And then they play 10 cost teach, and we swing 10 and then play a blocker just so we don't immediately die. And then we get the sea cake trigger, even though it won't matter at this point. They do, it's crazy, they do actually continue to just, play another 10 cost teach, even though like it was already over, but and then I think there might be one way. Yeah, I think there's one more. Then we get another Betty. We have being all the Betties in this video. This one we see another chopper. Swing into Richie, it's fine. And they kind of low roll, unfortunately for them. And then there's time about how I'm playing Animals Market. I joked with them. And yeah, I kill their whatchamacallit card, and then because yeah, they low rolled, so they didn't even see a Betty, and then I saw chopper into Seaquake, so it was just they just quit immediately because it's kind of over. And so yeah, that's the video. And thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment below. Let me know if you have any questions or would like to see anything in future videos. As far as Marco, I'll be continuing to do Ranked Monday videos, hopefully every week, and then I think I will also try to do Medify at some point. And yeah. And so see you next time.